add to the draw from their opener. Saudi Arabia with those 3 points, 1 for Mexico, and Argentina still to get off the mark. They will play Mexico at 7 o'clock tonight. So Poland under pressure, but they came through.
Yeah, they did. Probably not unexpectedly in terms of how the second half panned out. Just felt they grew into the game more, gained a little bit more confidence and carried more of an attacking threat, Claire, in the second half. Lewandowski, funny enough, I thought he was a little bit anxious. He carried a little bit of weight in his shoulders today following that penalty, missing the opening game. Maybe negative thoughts in his mind today about going another World Cup without scoring. So great moment for him to get that Polish second goal. Had other chances as well. Claire could have been more comfortable for them. Gritty enough performance from Saudi Arabia. Kept pushing till the last, but yeah, kind of class told in the end.
Yeah, smiles from him, and we saw tears earlier. It really was a lot of pressure on him.
That's an amazing, the emotion and the release that's obviously given him to score. Like players like that are at the top for so long put so much pressure on themselves. It always comes from within as a player that reaches the highest level, and you can tell for him scoring on this occasion for his country, it was huge. He's scored so many goals across so many countries. He's been one of the greatest goal scorers for the last 10-15 years. Sensational footballer. But you can just show how much it means to score for your country in a World Cup. It's unbelievable to see that a player of that quality still has that much emotion for scoring for his country.
Yeah, he's 77th goal for his country, the same as Pele.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, he splits people a little bit, Lewandowski, Claire, in terms of where exactly he is, where they actually put him in terms of the modern day strikers. Different type of striker, of course, to Ronaldo and Messi. Really an orthodox kind of number 9. But his numbers stack up. People say he hasn't done it maybe in the biggest league, of course, maybe the Premier League in a dominant kind of Bayern Munich team. But you can't doubt the individual quality which he has and his finishing ability. I think it's there for all to see. And of course, the calmness in which he took his goal today was pretty typical of him.
Yeah. Where would you put him, Stephen? And I suppose as well, part of the emotion there was he's 34. You know, this may be his last one on the big stage.
I think it's unfortunate for him that he's fallen at a time where arguably two of the greatest footballers ever to play have been competing head for head with each other in Messi and Ronaldo. You know, you take them two out of category and then he's right up the top, isn't he? You know, you put him up there.
Probably Harry Kane.
Yeah, Harry Kane. I'd say Harry
but
Kane. And I think this guy, his numbers are absolutely phenomenal. Like, he scores goals. He's gone to Barcelona now. He has 18 and 19 games. Consistently scoring almost as many games he plays, which regardless of what league you're playing in is a feat. So yeah, he's absolutely sensational centre forward, and another player that you're going to look back on and think if he wasn't in with those players he'd be deemed higher.
Yeah, and Poland, they haven't been out of the group stages since 1986, which is almost hard to believe, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but they're in good shape now. They can create their own little kind of history, this group of players. It's not perfect, Claire. I don't think this starting 11. I think it's got a couple of little frailties. Kind of Glick at centre half, I'll be a little bit worried about. He looked to be carrying a little bit of timber this evening, which is unbelievable really for a professional footballer. But yeah, he has some good quality, some battle-hardened individuals around the team. And I think this weight now lifted off Lewandowski's shoulders. It wouldn't surprise me now if he goes and grabs maybe another 2 or 3 goals before his tournament ends.
Yeah, it could really free him up, couldn't it? What about Saudi Arabia? They did start on the front foot, but they missed that penalty.
Yeah, I think they would have definitely dampened their confidence, but they came out the second half and they were still pushing, they were still progressing, but it wasn't loads of clear-cut chances. This one drops here, and I think essentially makes a decent save, but for the most part in the game, I don't think they really posed an out-and-out threat in behind the defence. And I think as Poland went on, the centre-backs were comfortable dealing with a lot of what they had to offer. Szczesny pulled up a couple of good saves. There was nothing really out of the ordinary, and I think if Poland were to progress, they're going to come against teams that are going to cause them a lot more problems with pace and actually real good quality in the final third.
Yeah, he certainly is the man of the moment, Kenny, so let's get straight to him and his long-awaited goal.
Yeah, it was long awaited, and I say Richie deserved. He kind of persevered. It was gift wrapped to him, let's be honest. Al Maki makes a huge error. Could easily have gone to ground, Claire, under the contact. No way he was going to go to ground, though. He sensed his opportunity, and that's the kind of calm finisher that we're talking about. Just goes on to an autopilot here, really. There's a little touch, has a quick look up, steadies himself, and that's a relatively simple finish for a striker of his quality.
And he did have a chance for a second one, after that as well. And I suppose for him, after the agony of that missed penalty against Mexico, and with his head in his hands, he looked a bit broken after it.
Yeah, and by all accounts, he was very down because of it. And like I said, it just goes to show how much it actually means to these players. I think he's got over 600 goals for club and country, which is a phenomenal record. But that for him was a huge moment in his career to get that goal in the World Cup, and he got that second chance, goes through, and you can see there's no even agony after he misses it because he's already got the first one. So does it. But his reaction and his setup for the first goal was brilliant. He scored a second. For every goal threat, he was pretty much thereabouts for Poland today. And
I thought he looked a bit anxious though. He was rushing a couple of things first half. Decision-making, in around the box. So obviously, like we're talking about, his mindset was a little bit maybe spinning a little bit, but that goal will certainly help in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, like you were saying, it could have a really liberating effect for him, couldn't it?
Well, it has to be, because if this Poland team are going to get out of the group and potentially, end up in a quarter-final position, he needs to be playing at his peak. Claire, he really does. He has to be excelling.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the Saudi chances, because they really did keep chasing it, didn't they?
Yeah, they kept at it. I'll give them credit. Al-Dassari as well. Started the game actually very well. Probably their best attacking player during the course of the game. This was them throwing bodies into the box, a little bit kind of frenetic at times. Poland getting plenty of bodies back. Kanu, who was reasonably impressive again. This is a great little two-touch football. Al-Dassari just kind of spinning on the side, setting up Ibrahim. It's a bit of a wild finish, which was typical of them. Here's that work rate again, that physicality, pressing high up the pitch. Kanu expected a bit better from him, just lashes the ball again, another wild clearance. Look at the number of green bodies there again in and around the Polish penalty box. Looks as if they got nowhere to go here. Lovely bit of individual skill. Ball eventually arrives at the feet of Al-Maki, and the edge of the box just drags it wide. So plenty of pressure around the Polish penalty box, just couldn't find that killer finish.
There was a lot of snapping at chances, wasn't it? Rushing them, they didn't really catch on them really clearly. That the last one, good bit of bending it, but before that, Kano, he strikes it and he's in close, he smashed it over the bar. They weren't really clinical in those areas. What we looked from the Argentina game, where the two finished were only 2 shots on target, but they were wonderful strikes. Today they were guilty of overhitting them, misplaced them, just getting too caught up and not taking that time.
It's the typical kind of box to box, not far 8 out of 10. But of course, once they got in around the opposition penalty box, needed that little bit of creativity and clinical edge. Again, couldn't find it.
Poland got their goal. They did have a couple of other chances too. They rattled the woodwork.
Yeah, they did. And this is the kind of Poland set back, and I think they were happy that game plan to sit and play in the counter-attack. And then they knew when they got into the final tour, there was only a few moments. This is a great cross in. I think it's from Frankowski, and it's Milik who meets it really well. Perfect, looks like it's destined for the top corner, comes off the bar, and this one is Lewandowski get across the goalkeeper. He gets quite lucky here, doesn't get a decent contact on his foot, but comes off his train and left leg, comes off the post. And this was slightly the difference, I think, that when they did playoff scraps, they didn't have loads of ball in the final tour, but when they got in there, they were a lot more convincing with the way they played. This is a brilliant run from Lewandowski. He goes through, and this is obviously after he scored his goal, so you can see in his face there's no agony, there's no sense of disbelief that he's not scored. He's already got that goal, and he's tried to do something probably a little bit more finesse about the finish than he might have just slotted that home if he hadn't really scored. But for him to be off the mark, it's huge for them.
Now, another key man for them was their goalkeeper. He really was brilliant today. He
was excellent. We showed the penalty save and the reaction in the first half, but in the second half as well, he's had a few moments where he's had to be really big. I think this one, it comes across, he gets a decent contact on it over the bar. His positional sense was very good. The penalty stop, the penalty save is great. He goes one way, shifts his body, but then it's the reaction, how quick he gets back off his feet, gets a littlest of touches on it just to push it over. But this is what you want from top class goalkeepers. It's how to get back up, how to react. There's not a defender in sight, which you'd be raging about as well. This one here, it's a scramble, it's mixing about in the box. They try to clear it, comes off the background defender, and then it's just a reaction. He's going down, does really well off his knees, and you can see they're very happy with the way he's performed. And for them to go far, he's going to be important. Defensively, they're going to have to be solid, but I think they're going to face much sterner tests than what Saudi Arabia will pose today.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a quick look back now at the first half goal. Zielinski with this one, but Lewandowski did play his part too, keeping the ball in.
It certainly did. The manager will be pleased with this off the training pitch in terms of the setup, drawn Saudi Arabia onto them and then playing in behind, get a bit of penetration down the right-hand side here. Lewandowski plays his part. It's a lovely little bit of skill, good vision as well to pick out Zielinski, and it's a great finish. Could Saudi Arabia done a little bit better? I think probably they could have, Claire. As we see it develop here, we're going to highlight Saudi Arabian centre half, El Amri in the centre of the goal. He's got a decision to make now. What he's going to do is going to drop onto the line, the goal line. I would have rather seen him step in the opposite direction towards Zielinski. Lewandowski's gone away from the goal. His goalkeeper is actually recovering towards the goal line. No need for him to cover him behind. That opens up the space for Zielinski. Just one of those, split-second decisions that you have to make as the defender. Unfortunately, this occasion he got it wrong.
Yeah, when he's in that position, I can understand why he's decided to go back in the line, because he's slightly ahead of the goalkeeper. So he sees that orange jersey, and then I suppose if there's a realisation that's Lewandowski turning, is he going to shoot? Yeah, in the end, he does make the wrong decision, goes back into the line. But those split moments, you'd have to be really clear of mind to have noticed that man, and just that's a brave decision to stop and think, right, I'm going to go step out to that player and leave that space if the goalkeeper doesn't fill it. So it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I can understand it, but ultimately it's the wrong decision. The goal's empty, and natural instincts tell you I want to go and fill that space, but ultimately it's almost impossible for Lewandowski to score. The only person who can really score there is probably Zielinski on the cutback, but obviously with experience you learn those things.
So how do you see Group C shaking down now? Argentina, Mexico, obviously a big one tonight.
That's a tough one, isn't it? It's a big game, big game with two nations that know each other very well. It's not going to be easy. Everybody would have thought Argentina, and they were being kind of tipped to be favourites going to this competition. But on the back of losing that first game, this makes such an open match. Yeah,
I take Argentina. I think I'll go through. And just the manner in which Poland finished the game today. We've spoken about the Lewandowski factor in terms of unburdened from that pressure. Yeah, I'll probably lean towards them as well to go through with Argentina.
So the two of them, you go along with that?
I'd say Argentina should have enough to beat Mexico, but honestly, after watching Mexico, I think that's going to be a really tough match. They're going to have to fight really hard, and they're going to be a little bit shell-shocked after losing that first game.